had to go to a different section.
Delete. Mm,
No, not the delete. I still don't know how to do that.
show me.
All right, the stream is up.
Ah, I can go to you.
Yeah. Oh, this camera's so blurry. Oh well. It will have to do for now.
Boom, boom. Are you going to talk on it too?
Yeah, why?
Oh, I can hear myself, just so you know.
Oh, I know you can know. Well, I mean, I guess I don't know because there you go. Now I know. Let's see the chat, or not the chat, the viewer count didn't update. Okay. So we can take care of that later. So one of the things I want to do is figure out what style of printer I want to use. So I'm thinking of going with an IDEX printer because I don't have one of those yet, and I want to try it out. They look pretty cool.
What deck?
The IDEX, IDEX, so independent x-axis. So it's got two different tool heads moving on the x-axis at the same time, independent of each other. So you can do like mirror prints on the same build plate at the same time. You can do copy prints, so or duplication prints, I think it's called, and it'll do two parts or two exact parts of each other on opposite sides of the build plate, things like that. But I also want to use the Wham Bam mutant system, so it's a quick tool head removal setup, and I will be able to just throw on whatever print head I have and test it out. The only issue that I have right now that I can think of is it's got to be able to somehow measure the tool head height and create an offset so I can either lift either head up or down depending on what I'm printing, because they're not going to be exactly the same height. So I could either do that manually, just like eyeball where the height is, or um, Dies Engineering, I think it's called. Dies Design, Dies Engineering. They should be coming out later this year um, with a whole extruder setup that has basically a pressure sensor. So it'll touch the nozzle of the hot end off the build plate, and it'll sense the force that it's applying to the build plate and say, oh, this is the end, and it uses that as the end stop. And that would be really nice to just be able to probe the bed with the nozzle and then have the machine say, okay, this is how much different tool head 2 is, and then lift that up X amount or
Okay.
Z amount. So under goals, it's going to write up some goals at the top. IDEX, mutant, and I'm going to put in parentheses possibly Dies Design. Because their stuff is really expensive, but it's supposed to be the highest quality things you can get. Um, what else do I want this? Potentially fully enclosed. and I want to be able to switch on and off each hot end assembly, because part of the instructions for the mutant is you have to turn off the 3D printer so there's no electricity going to the hot end or any of the other, like the thermistors, the temperature sensor. So you don't short them out. So you have to turn the printer off, unplug the mutant, plug the next one back in, then turn the printer on. I want to just have a switch that, like a master switch that controls all the electricity going to that area per side. So put master switch 2 sides. What motherboard do you think I should go with, Dave? You think I should go with Big Tree Tech like I normally do, or try out Duet? I'm going to need a Raspberry Pi because it's going to run Clipper. So put Clipper in parentheses.
Or that, I forgot what it called. It has like a big octopus symbol on the board. It has like 8 different things. I'm trying to look it up.
8 different like stepper ports.
Yes.
It might be the Octopus, but I think that's by Big Tree Tech.
No, it's I just saw it. Big Tree Octopus V 1.0.
You think I should try that one?
Yeah.
Okay. Big Tree Tech Octopus. That has 8 slots. So let's see here. I'm going to need 2 X motors, 2 extruder motors, so that's 4. 1 Y motor, 5. If I used 1 Z motor, that's 6. 7, 8 for potentially... One of them could be an offset motor. Would it be interesting if I did kind of like how the Rat Rig V-Core is set up, where it's got 3 Z motors to adjust the height of the bed, or adjust the tilt of the bed?
You can do that, yeah.
Because I was thinking of either doing that, or having like a little tiny stepper motor. I guess I could use a servo motor as well on the back of, let's say, Tool 2. So if I'm using, let's say, an E3D V6 on Tool 1 and a Super Volcano on Tool 2, there's like 5 times the height difference. I'd like to have a motor just be able to control the height, kind of like a CNC router, where it'll just lift it up a little bit, or a pen plotter. Just enough to lift the head up so it's not going to be making contact with anything else. So I wonder if using a stepper motor or a servo motor would be better.
Oh, so I'm looking up more things about the board. So I have 4 heater ports.
4?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
Yeah, I got 4 heater ports, 8 motors, 8 end stop, 8 fan ports, and a bunch of other UI stuff like expansion 1, expansion 2, USB, Type C.
Does it have any servo ports?
BFT, BL Touch, Reset.
BL Touch does have a servo, so that's 1.
SPI3 port, power detection. Probably not servo directly. Maybe not.
Hmm.
But why do you need servo when you can just use a stepper motor?
Because I don't know if I'll have enough slots. Because if I use a stepper motor, I won't be able to make three z-axes to control the tilt on the bed. I'd have to manually level the
Um,
bed, which isn't a problem. I'll just have
just,
two extra
just make
ports.
one side like a ball joint side, and the other two you can move up and down independently. A triangle type. You know what I mean?
Oh, I think I see. Like, kind of like Ultimaker's printer where they have a free floating bed. Quote free floating. It's just anchored on one spot and then three adjustment points.
True, but yeah,
Okay,
or that way, yeah.
that's something I could do. Hmm. Do you know if the Octopus has a small, like you can get a daughter board for more stepper motors, potentially?
Now you can just keep getting more of them and clip or do the thing.
I could. So if that's that, I might. I think I can get an SKR Mini. Can you look up the SKR Mini? It's also by Big Tree Tech. I think it only has two ports or three
Yep.
ports for motors, because that might help out with organization. I just have like auxiliary motors plugged into a different side. Like all the core components X, Y, X, X1, Y, Z1, 2, 3, extruders on the one, and then tool height adjustment motors on the other board.
Okay, got 1, 2, 3, 4. Step motor port.
On the SKR Mini?
Yeah, I'm gonna look it up.
Huh. I think the SKR 1.4 has four as well. Oh, no, it has five, doesn't it? Hmm.
I like how all the boards are roughly the same price, no matter what it is.
Yeah.
What a turbo.
I think it just has faster processing. It might have a different board or have a higher bit rate on the processor, the CPU.
My motherboard for Ender 3 printer.
Okay. Anything else I want to include in this printer? Um, Possibly a filament runout sensor. That'd be nice. although I don't really use them that much. But does your encoder keep track of how much filament you've used, or does you just use the slicer for that?
My encoder.
Yeah, the encoder wheel for your runout sensor.
I mean, you don't have to calibrate it. You'd have to calibrate it between every click, and then say every time it goes change the state, it move X amount.
Okay.
And then you can tune it so that, or in the program, you can say if I don't see a static change every 5 millimeters, then trip out. You know, when in fact it changes state every 4. You know,
Okay. Because
you kind of do that.
I've seen some nice sensors out there. One of them by Big Tree Tech, the other one by Dye's Design.
Yeah,
Those are
mine doesn't work.
pricey.
Mine doesn't work with my printer because it, it's using the wrong input on my board and the wrong type of sensor, and I can't find another sensor in the same form factor as it.
Oh, is your board?
Yeah, so
Didn't you
my
update?
sen- hmm?
Didn't you update your board?
No,
Oh, you got the 32-bit board. That's right.
yeah.
I forgot about that.
Also because my thing output high and the board expect the output low or something like that. It it's just not compatible.
Okay.
I know the reason. I just can't think of it.
All right. So
I could probably get the BT SKI E3 Turbo for my Ender 3.
the 1.3 turbo,
E3.
E3 turbo. I don't think I know of that one. Oh, this camera's super blurry. I can't even read what's on the paper. Does moving it closer help?
Yeah, no, don't bother.
Oh, that's so bad. Oh, this camera was so cheap.
Cheapo.
This is the camera that was mounted for my Sidewinder. That's what I was using as the little USB camera. That was the one that kept overvolt or low voltage alarming my Raspberry Pi. This camera right here was the source of all the problems with the Raspberry Pi. All right. Ooh, let's add TFT on here. I want some way to control the printer.
Yeah, the Octopi board thing. It does have a TFT on it. The port for it at least.
The Octopi board? What is that?
That's the one I've been telling. The Octopus Big Tree
Oh,
Tech.
yeah. All of the Big Tree Tech motherboards should have TFT compatibility. I know my 1.4 does. It
1.4.
The SKR 1.4. It's got um, compatibility for the normal like LCD screens and TFTs. So when I was building the school project, my SP1, uh, I ended up buying a Big Tree Tech TFT that would go back and forth between the LCD mode and TFT mode, but I never got it working because I didn't know at the time that the TFT needed its own firmware for it to work. I didn't know I had to flash firmware for the TFT. I'm like, oh, well, now I know that problem.
Oh, I just found that The Big Tree EXP MOT via 1.0. It's basically a motor expansion.
Oh, it's got a motor extension. So it's just used for stepper motors?
Here, 3D printing page. Not working. I'll do that. Why not? There you go.
Let's take a look at this thing. Oh, that's perfect. That's exactly what I'm looking for. What's in the box? Yeah, that's exactly what I'm looking for. You just get the octopus and throw that thing on it as well, and then you got 11 slots. Octopus has 8, that's got 3. Yeah, 11 slots. That'd be awesome.
Kind of like you can look like you can daisy chain them too, in a way.
Yes, that was one of the things for this product, if I'm correct, is the whole purpose is to be able to just, oh, you need more motors? Just get another one of these and slap more on there.
That's nice.
Big Tree Tech is a nice company. They make a lot of really great products. Like, I don't think I've ever had any issues with anything that I've bought from them. Although I've never used either of my switching nozzles that I have. I have yet to try them out, and I need to.
You have to say not sponsored.
Oh yeah, not sponsored by Big Tree Tech. If you want to sponsor me, that'd be awesome. But not sponsored by them. Ugh.
I have to buy into that.
This is gonna be a rough sketch. Been a while since I've done any sketching. Alright. I'm just gonna go this way. And my hand did not go in a straight line. Oh, which company was it? There's a filament company that tried making multicolor filament that changes based on the temperature that you extrude it at.
Oh, I never heard of that yet.
It's very hard to print apparently because you have to print like the tool head has to be at, I think it was like 120 Celsius, so it's a really low temperature filament. But it's made with the stuff that's in this erasable ink for pens. So when you erase, quote, erase it, all you're doing is heating up the ink and it like loses its color. So you can get clear prints, or if you print it at a lower temperature, you get whatever color you purchased. I think Polymaker is doing that? No. Protopasta. They have the cardboard rolls, right? The cardboard spools.
Yeah.
Yeah, they were testing that.
Can't say I'm surprised with them.
Can't say you're surprised.
Correct.
They do a lot of weird stuff. Oh, forgot to make this line 3D. Oh, yeah. It's been a hot minute. Oh, one more line. This line has to connect so it doesn't look weird. There we go. So basic top part of the frame. Draw the uprights. So now here's the next question. Do I have the tool heads move on X and Y and just have the Z move up and down? Actually, I think I'm going to have to do that if I'm doing... Oh no, with the expansion board I can do triple Z axis. Oh yeah. Never mind. That makes things easier.
You get one main board and you get like 50 secondary board.
Yeah, I just get the octopus and I plug in all the other main boards and I'm good to go. The mini boards.
Yeah.
So
That
yeah,
would be dopey.
I think I'll only need 9 motor slots total.
Okay.
If I'm correct. This guy flew into our or our driveway. What in the world? Just have some random people showing up at my house, as per usual. We got construction going on for the kitchen. We're getting that redone. How my dog hasn't started barking, that is a miracle. I have no idea. So how's the stream looking? Pretty terrible. uh,
Whole lot of hand.
oh, this line should not be here. Is German at his dad's this weekend?
No idea.
Hmm.
He would have been gone yesterday too if that was.
I mean, he has a laptop now, so he's been bringing that back and forth from his dad's. But I was wondering if he was out doing something today, because I have not seen him or heard from him at all on like Instagram.
Mm-hmm.
Bloop, bloop. Let's just get rid of this whole line. This thing doesn't make sense being here. You know what would have been really smart is if I used isometric paper for this. That would have been, an intelligent move. This is all 3D
You know what?
printed.
You know what would have been really smart?
What?
You be more prepared about this.
Dave. I have what I have to work with.
Uh,
But yes, you are correct. But I've got to try and refrain myself from bringing this sketchbook around with me. Because one of my supervisors commented that I was doing sketching in between my machines running.
mm-hmm.
And they're like, you really shouldn't be doing that. I'm like, yeah, I know.
Or not.
Because I should be focusing on work, even though my machines are running, so I can't really be doing anything else. I gotta sit and wait for my machine to be done.
I mean, kind of, yeah. You should be focusing on your thing so you don't break a tool head or something.
If I break a tool head, that's not my fault. That's programming's fault. They just programmed the
Oh,
machine bad.
what if something gets loose and then the tool pops out or the part pops out?
Well, then that would have been my fault beforehand.
Correct.
Yeah, I should have been checking the part before starting the machine.
You have no idea what vibration would do to the thing.
Oh, I have a lot of idea what vibration does to parts. I've seen many parts explode because they weren't manufactured right. And then I'm left with a part that exploded off the table because I'm running 4 machines, and then, oh, that one wasn't sitting quite right on the tape, or I misjudged how tight I put the part in the vise, and then the part loosened off of that. Sometimes it's my fault, sometimes it's just the parts are really hard to machine. What on earth is this sketch? Get rid of all of this. I'm not going to finish the back because that doesn't really need to get done. Alright, yay, square frame. Thanks, Jake. Yeah, this is not a great camera. Although, you know what might be a better camera? Let's see if I can get that working quickly. I just got a text from other Jake. He was upset because I sent him so many videos all at the same time. Like, we should have been watching them all at the same time. Just get 3 hands and 3 phones so you can watch all of the videos I send you at once. Big brain time. Wonder if I can get iRun working real fast.
I wouldn't bother.
Why not?
You're gonna hold the phone then.
I can use the the clip for the camera I'm using now, and just clip my phone in there.
Oh.
The question mark? We'll see. Alright, iRun is now active. Where to flip the camera around?
Jake.
What?
He's spamming you.
Is he? Well, that's cute. Oh. Okay. Let's get this up here. Alright, we're going to disable the camera real quick. Oh, wow, that is way clearer. Okay. So, where was that? That was camera, iRun. There, how's that? Why is it tiny? Can I edit where this is, please?
You're resizing the program.
Yeah, that's what I gotta do. In iRun?
No, in...
Yeah, in Streamlabs.
Oh, actually there too.
How do I do it in iRun?
In your desktop or your computer, there should be like a little pop-up saying what size and what resolution.
Alright, I don't see it on iRun, so... Desktop. Video format. Let's just do the big one. Testing the camera. It's still working. Weird, it's not letting me stretch it out. Oh, it's locked. That's why. All right. There we go. Now how's that look? Can actually kind of see what I'm doing.
Some insulation issue, but it's better, yeah.
All right. So we'll stick with that then. Sorry, $10 Amazon camera. Still haven't found a purpose for you. Okay, so the bed, the build plates. We'll do 3 Z-axes. I don't know if either of you could see this. What color is this pen? Is it purple or blue?
In your hand, it's blue.
On the paper, is it blue as well?
I can't tell.
Okay, because I don't know what color it is.
I look blue, yeah.
Okay. So you kind of see where I'm going with the 3 Z-axes, right?
Yep.
Okay. Then draw out build plate. Oh, that was something else we didn't decide on. I need to figure out the build volume for this thing, what I want it to be.
Uh,
How big should the
10
build
yard by
plate
10 yard by 10 yard.
No, no. No, I don't think so. I've already tried that. Or
No, you didn't.
tried out the concept with one of my friends, with Nick. It was going to be one of his high school projects. He wanted to build a massive, like, I think it was 3 yards by 3 yards by 3 yards or something. Something huge. And then he was calculated a cost of the printer, and he's like, yeah, this is way too expensive. I don't even have a job yet. Let's not do that. It was either 3 yards or 3 feet by 3 feet. I don't recall. And let's do x-axis. So I'll drop back here so I've got some room. I really have to figure out where the foreground should actually be in this. or whenever I do drawings, because I always have to erase tons of stuff. That is not my strong point. These 3D drawings. And then just a rough sketch of tool heads. Just something real quick. Get an idea. Nothing fancy. Oh, and it got worse. All right. I think that's a solid basis. What was the other thing I just thought of? I don't even remember. On the side out here, we'll draw.
Hey, don't look at me. I can't read your mind.
Well, not yet. You can't. We'll change that pretty soon. We'll get we'll get Elon Musk to put the neurochip in your brain, and I'll get it for mine, so you can read my mind and tell me what I'm thinking, and then I can just spam you with "never gonna give you up." I'll rickroll you while you're trying to sleep.
Never gonna give you up.
You're just trying to sleep, and then all of a sudden,
Hey, joke's on you. I actually like that song.
well, so do I. It's a good song. But you know what song I also like by Rick Astley is well, I can't remember, so I guess it doesn't matter. Together Forever. It's got the same chord structure, but it's a very different song. I suppose I should figure out where I'm going to put the electronics. I could put them underneath the printer. And that might be the most organized method of doing it. I suppose. Alright, let's add some more frames. Woo! I'm kind of taking on a Voron type shape.
A cube is a superior shape.
It is, yes. The main difference, though, is this is going to be a lot simpler than the Voron, so it won't have a flying gantry style. Because that, I hear, is very difficult to get set up right.
Using what again?
It's got like a flying gantry on timing belts, so the entire Z-axis is held up by 4 timing belts instead of lead screws. So you don't have to deal with the error on the lead screws because the timing belts have far less.
Okay.
I guess machine error per quote. So it's a far more accurate system, but it's a lot more difficult to set up. And this is going to just be a simple printer used for testing out IDEX technology and allowing me to just try out any new extruder or new hot end or something that comes out. I want to be able to just throw it on some sort of test machine and run some benchmarks. So this is going to be like my all-around benchmark machine for any sort of extra hot ends, extruders, etc.
You call this a simple thing?
Dave, simple's a relative term. All right. Everything's going to be housed underneath. So I need to find out how the Wham Bam Cyclops works. I know everything gets plugged into basically a breakout board on each toolhead setup. And then that basically has a bunch of jumper pins that you plug the whole system into when you mount it onto the printer. And then that has all of the electronics from that break off to the main motherboard. So I'm wondering if it has its own power and I can just turn on and off the power from there. Because I don't want to have to shut the entire printer down to change a tool head. I'd like to just be able to shut the tool head off, pull it out, put the new one in, turn it on.
You still have to go on Clipper to change out the configuration.
For what? The new tool
Could
head?
you have, yeah, you might have a different limit. You might have a different top rate. You might have a different whatever. You still have to restart the firmware on that Clipper. They're going to shut it down when you connect it.
I suppose that is a good argument. Yeah, that makes sense. I'll have to make like different blocks of information for each tool head and then just import different ones in based on what I'm using.
Yeah. One thing I do want to do with my printers or future printers is have it turn everything off except for the Clipper part of it, the Pi.
Can't you already do like isn't there an option to do that already?
Not on my printer.
Oh. Oh, you mean like so like when the printer finishes printing something at night, it'll do like an auto shut off except for
Yeah.
okay.
Like the Pi would tell the power supply to turn off.
Oh. Yeah, I got you. Okay. I think there is a G code command for that.
But my power supply isn't set up for that. So, like I said, I need to change things out. So it's not sucking power 24/7.
Yeah. If you want, what you could do is you could set up a servo motor with like a little light switch running before the power supply. So when it runs the servo command, it'll just flick the power off and cut the power to the machine. But then you don't have power to the Raspberry Pi because you shut everything off because your Raspberry Pi is in series with your PCU, right?
It's controlled by its own thing right now.
Oh, it has its own power
Oh,
supply?
power. Yeah.
Okay. Okay. So I want to make sure I highlight this. That I want specifically Tool 2 to have a different setup. So here, it's going to be a little different. From the side view, you're going to have the linear, or not the linear rail. Why might I put linear rails on here? I'm still undecided on whether or not I'm going to do V slot wheels for price or linear rails for precision.
Or you're gonna sell it, design it for both.
I could do that, yeah. I have not good experience with designing the V slot wheels though, because the last time I tried it, I ended up accidentally purchasing two different um, T slot extrusions. So one had the chamfer for the V slot wheels, and the other one didn't. And I ended up designing the parts for the ones that didn't. Mounted the V slot wheels on the part and go to put it on, and I used the extrusion that had the chamfer, so it wasn't fitting. It was super loose. I'm like, what is going on? So I made an adjustment, and it didn't fit. Made another adjustment, didn't fit. I thought, okay, maybe I just have a weird extrusion, so I switched up for the other one, and then I couldn't put the part on. It was just too tight. I'm like, what the heck? What's going on?
What about would do too?
I'm like, what the heck? This is going to be the gantry. I'm just going to use the V slot wheels for this model.
We'll be back.
All right. So this is going to have V slot wheels connected to a mounting plate. And that mounting plate is going to hold probably a very short linear rail with, I'm deciding either between a pulley system or a really small lead screw of some sort, so it can adjust the height of the tool up and down based on how tall it is. So it'll measure the height of the first tool off the build plate, get a nice height for that. Then it's going to grab tool 2, probe off the bed, and then move the tool up or down to make it perfectly level with tool 1. Tool 1's always just going to be a rigid mounted thing, and I will be able to adjust the height of tool 2 based on where it is. And I'm pretty sure the mutant setup by Wham Bam has the ability for you to put like it has multiple holes, so you can put it in different spots. So I'm wondering if I can, let's say if I use a volcano, I won't have to make the Z adjustment super high or super tall. I'll just be able to move the whole super volcano up a little bit, and then I don't have to move the adjustment screw up as high. Let's draw that out before I forget. is a mounting plate for the mutant on top of that. These x-axes are going to sit out really far from each other. So this is going to need an end stop if I'm using an extruder or a stepper motor. So let's put the end stop on the bottom. That's the second plate. And then whatever I put on here. So let's just draw a generic extruder of some sorts. This looks terrible. So we have the V-slot wheels on a 2020 extrusion. Let's make that more obvious that that's what this is. All right. So 2020 extrusion, V-slot wheels, X gantry, or X2 gantry, a linear rail that will hold the mutant backplate, and the mutant cover plate with the hot end and extruder on it. And the only thing I need to think of is where to mount the adjustment motor. I suppose I could do that above, over here somewhere. You see the little pancake motor? Let's try that. Yeah, I'll put a pancake motor over here. And instead of using a lead screw, I'll just use a pulley system. I gotta make this sideways, or face the y-axis, not the x-axis. The motor face has to face the y-axis. Run parallel with the y-axis. English. Motor will be up here. There we go. So now that should be a little easier to see. 2020 extrusion, V-slot wheels, the Z adjustment motor, X gantry or X2 gantry, linear rail, mutant backplate, mutant cover plate, and then whatever hot end I decide to put on there. And that's how the second extruder is going to work. There's probably an easier way of being able to just use Klipper to say, hey, this is the offset of both of these tool heads. Just keep the tool head parked over to the side until it's ready. But the issue with that is if I'm doing that with an IDEX machine, I can't use the features like mirror mode. I can't do duplicate printing because they're different tool heights and have to wait. So I would like this height adjustment to just do it automatically for me. And of course the Z-axis will have its own 3-plane leveling system. Similar to the Voron. The Voron has a 4-plane. The Rat Rig, I think, has a 3-plane. So that should be kind of the gist of what I'm going for. Let's draw out where the display should go. I think the display should be on the bottom of the printer. So somewhere down here. That'll keep me from having to route those wires from a long distance away. So that might be beneficial. Now, one thing with this TFT is I would like to put, or to allow me to use Clipper with it, but I don't want to use Clipper screen because I am not a fan of the UI. So there might be other UIs that I can use, similar to how Octoprint does it. But I will have to do some research and find out because I am unsure. So right now I have Clipper screen set up on my artillery sidewinder and not really a fan. I don't like the UI. Everything just feels out of place. It works, but it's not quite what I'm looking for. And honestly, I might just steal the TFT from there and put it on this thing because I rarely use the TFT on the Sidewinder as it's in my room and just right there with the printer. So I could probably stick this in my basement if it's fully enclosed and then just have the TFT control it so I can virtually send files to the printer. And if I need to make adjustments while I'm down there, I can just do that from the TFT. And that would make the most sense. Alright, so that is pretty much the gist of what this thing is going to look like. Let me really get rid of these extra lines. I don't want to see those. Get them out of here. Alright. So, suppose that basically wraps up the main sketch portion of this design. I think the only other thing I'd have to sketch up is like maybe how the bed is mounted to the z-axis, or how the z-axis is mounted to the frame, how the Y gantry is going to work. Still haven't quite figured out if I'm going to use linear rails for the y-axis, if I'm planning on using roller bearings like Prusa printers. Just going to use, again, V-slot wheels. Haven't quite figured it out. I will find out eventually. And the only other thing I don't know is, am I going to use one motor for the y-axis now that I'm getting the expansion board? Am I going to use one of those pass-through motors, so it has the rotating shaft on both ends of the stepper motor, and just connect the y-axis on that with screws or big long bearing? I'm not quite sure. Figure that out down the road. For now, I just want to get the gist of this. I still got to figure out the build volume. Suppose for the height, I'd like probably 350. So LHW, length with height. LWH, that would make things a little bit easier. LWH, height 350. That's in millimeters. We'll do wide. Let's do 300 by 300. So 300, 300, 350. And then the z-axis is subject to change, so that might get increased to 400 if I feel like it. We'll find out. This is just a rough sketch with some basic ideas down, some simple goals, and then some not so simple goals, so we'll find out. This whole sketch will be up on hopefully a shareable PDF that I'll post on my channel under the description of this stream. So we will find out. I will see you guys next week.